finally get married and get settled in life. I'm sure यहाँ पे जितने भी इंडियन मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से लोग हैं उन्होंने ये बातें कभी ना किसी से जरूर सुनी होंगी. Am I right? Well, my case was no different either. In my adolescent years, I too followed these guidelines set by society. I made sure that I was in the top 5 list of students in my class. After completing my MBA, I grabbed a campus placement where I worked for a year in Bangalore as business analyst, and then got married, shifted my base to Delhi, and again joined a very big firm. Pretty standard, isn't it? But somehow that wasn't enough for me. I wasn't feeling settled in my life. Well, hello everyone. My name is Neelam Singh. I am a homemaker, a mom, and a first-gen entrepreneur in my family, and founder and CEO of India's fastest-growing burger chain, the Burger Company. And I'm here to share my journey with you all, hoping that it may answer a few questions regarding entrepreneurship. So it all started with my love for food. So as a little girl, my weekend plans were quite sorted. My father and I used to go to this local street food market called Sadar Bazaar in my hometown Agra, and we used to make sure that we try each and every new items that are there in the market, and that used to be one of the most exciting parts of the day for me. And after this, I'm sorry guys, I'm a bit nervous here because it's been a long since I standing in front of the podium. Yeah. So, yeah. So soon enough, I realized that no plan is perfect without good food on the table, right? And with this, and with this thought, an inkling of having my own food chain started budding inside me. So, but then soon I realized that it's maybe too childish and too big of a dream for me to fulfill. So, and then I brushed off this idea. And then we can skip to the part where I spent my time in IBS Hyderabad, where I was pursuing my MBA. And there was an instance that really made me realize and identify the entrepreneur that was there inside me. Let me share that story with you. So there used to be a college fest called Trishna in our college, where students from outside colleges used to come, and there were a lot of concerts being organized, a lot of exhibitions were there, and all sorts of activities. And our college students were given an opportunity to set up a food stall for all the 5,000, 6,000 people that were visiting the fest. So, since I already mentioned that I was very much interested in food business and food per se, I decided that I will be setting up a food stall there. And little did I know, it was almost like a setting up a full-fledged business. So here was the process. You had to purchase the stall space, and the price of that stall space was equal to my 6 months pocket money at that point of time. So if that goes south, I was having no money or zero money for the entire 6 months of my college, which was pretty scary. So once you purchase that stall, I had to draw up the whole menu, arrange vendors, that too in an unknown city with language barrier, and sketch up the whole marketing plan. There was a Facebook page that was given to us where we had to advertise the food stall that we are setting up. Then there was offline marketing and all sorts of operational stuff that goes into setting up a whole business. But to my surprise, not only I could pull it off, but my stall was one of the best performing and profitable stalls, out of the lot. And that really gave me confidence. That little girl and the childish dream that I told you about, that seemed much more real and achievable now. So, and I was determined that I want to do something into the F&B industry. But then life took its own course. After completing my MBA, I took up the job, worked for a year, then I got married and shifted to Delhi, and again I took up another job. And while I was navigating my life through this marriage, family relationships, and new job, that little girl and her dream seemed to get left behind. And I was restraining myself from taking that leap and worrying that how I would break it to the people around me and how I would convince my in laws, my husband, my own family. But then I realized before convincing everybody else, I had to convince myself. I needed to put faith in myself and stop making my well settled life and handsome salary job as a shield and start preparing for the rupture that shall begin with this life changing decision. But then I did it. I quit my job and I took this daring plunge of entering into the F&B industry with twofold approach. First, to drive innovation and open cafes in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And second, to pave way for women entrepreneurs in this very much male dominated food and beverage industry. But as we say, life is anything but easy. There was a huge knee-jerk opposition from my in-laws, my family, when I told them about my decision. And there were financial hardships because obviously there was not much financial support. And there was uncertainty and bouts of self-doubt. But then I had made up my mind and I was ready. And when I started working towards it, my family became my biggest support, and my husband jumped in on this journey to become my business partner. We opened our first the burger company store in Palam Vihar, Gurgaon, and there were many firsts that we experienced during that phase. The first employee that we hired, the first food that we prepared in our kitchen, and the first customer that we served, and the first day where we made some profit. And all these little events were like milestones for us. And I still get butterflies when I speak about that phase because that is very close to my heart. And now, the burger company, this was going quite well. And we was actually starting to see some stability in our lives. And we were pretty happy with the feedback that we were getting from customers. We were pretty happy with the sales that we were that we were doing. But then COVID hit us. Yeah. And I'm sure none of us could have ever imagined or anticipated that kind of pandemic in our lives, right? But then I knew that we had to change our game plan to stick through it, otherwise, we would not have been able to survive. Then I sat down with my team and we worked out upon a franchisee model. And that actually came up as a blessing in disguise because with this franchisee model, I was able to execute my dream of having outlets in tier 2 and tier 3 cities of India. I'm sure you guys must be wondering why only tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? Uh, that is because I belong to one. I belong to Agra, which is a very small town. And as teenagers, me and my friends, we struggled a lot to find a hangout place for ourselves, which had like good interiors, good ambience. We could have fun there, spend time, and be safe at the same time, and enjoy good food at reasonable prices. Because I know how much pocket money our parents used to give us. So, so yeah, we struggled a lot there. And then another thing that I was very unhappy that all these international food chains and even domestic ones, they neglect these small towns. I don't know why, because they are at par in terms of spending capacity as those of metro cities. So I identified the gap there, and then I created a new category. And that category was combining QSR come casual dining concept, where we made sure that our interiors were fun. We had a lot of good music playing. Then if you go to any of our stores, you can get PlayStation to play. You can have a quick match of foosball there and enjoy some yummy food at affordable prices. So we created that, and after that, like I'd like to proudly share here that we have grown from 1 to 100 outlets in a span of less than 2 years. I know it may sound difficult. Yeah. So we've grown from 1 to 100 in a span of less than 2 years, and 70 of our outlets are still operational, and 30 are in fit outs and are going to open in next 3 months. And we are there present in small cities like Banda, Barod, Deoghar, Ujjain. I'm not sure किसी ने शायद ये शहरों के नाम पहले सुने भी ना हो, right? So we are there, we are there, and none of this was easy, but I was not ready to give up. And I'd like to make a point here because I see many ladies out here that I guess it was the women inside me that was brought up to be prepared to fight the society, challenge them, and make sure that they do not take control over my life. And we women, I think we rarely give up. We fight till the last breath, and be it professionally or personally. And it takes me tremendous courage and determination to be standing here as a mom to one and a half year old, an entrepreneur, and a woman who did not give up on her dreams. And so I have claimed my space in this very much male dominated food and beverage industry, but yet I'm very far from calling myself a part of it. Because every other person I meet, they come with their own gender biases. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining here. I'm just, laying my journey in front of my all of you, and especially my women believers who believe that and who will not let anybody tell them that this dream is too big for you. And I'm very thankful to have a supporting husband and amazing TVC team, my TVC family, that has worked so much into making this happen. And together we are moving towards further expanding into hospitality industry with many other food ventures. Because as they say, keep looking for your next goal. Thank you guys, that's my time.
Well, first of all, I think it's a very inspiring journey, and I'm sure it's never about women versus men, but a lot of things that this little talk catered to, that sometimes it becomes a little difficult for the women to sail through. So we can have questions from the audience if anything you want to ask with. I'll start with the first question, which few we had received earlier itself. So why only F&B? What motivated you to start into this industry itself?
So, like I mentioned, I was always a foodie, still am, you can judge. And I always, like I mentioned, like I always wanted to do something around food business because that is something I can relate to very much. And I guess in India, I think everyone would like to have, a good table full of food.
So, as a child, we usually are attracted towards various ideas, right? Maybe students too have rough idea of getting into a particular domain as an entrepreneur. How to visualize that which can become a profitable venture in future? What kind of folds do you see in the Indian industry which are unfolding now, and could be a good way to start as an entrepreneur?
See, the most important thing is to identify which industry do you relate to the most, and it should not be like that you like this industry. You should go for it. You should back your idea with lot of research and develop an acumen and strategy, and then take a first step, because anything without a proper research and preparation is not worth doing because it is much more risky. As an entrepreneur, we have to take risks. I also took one in back in college when I played poker with my 6 months pocket money, right? But then again, you have to do it with proper backing of knowledge and information in your hand. It has to be a calculated risk and not just a bare, you know, out of the blue risk.
students, I expect you to be little quiet and focus on the Q&A. Anybody who's willing to ask question can intervene in between. Okay, we can start. Yeah. Yes. Should we go? Yeah.
Anybody.
Okay. Anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and the Burger Company now also when we hire people, we look for one thing, and that is intention, right? It is very important to hire somebody who has intention of contributing to the company that they are going to work for, and they are willing to learn, right? Because whatever you study in your curriculum and whatever you do in the outside world, there are very less similarities between the two. We can train the person, like any person can be trained on the job, but that person should have proper backend of good education, acumen, and should be willing to learn and should have intention of working hard for the company that they are interviewing for. So yeah, so we look for somebody with good, to answer your question in bullet points, we look for somebody with good education, good intention, and somebody who's willing to learn. Yeah. Good afternoon. The Burger Company.
So can we have a mic for the students as well? Yes.
So, like I said, we created a new category. If we talk about these international chains, first of all, we are a homegrown brand, completely bootstrapped, and we understand the nerves of Indian customer. So when we talk about these international brands, or you take any local Indian brand also, none of them provides a great premium ambience and affordable food in terms of burger category, I'm saying. So if you talk about McD, Burger King, आप वहाँ जाएंगे फटाफट खाना खा के बाहर आ जाएंगे. You would do not feel like to spend time there, right? So that is how we are differentiated. And if you look at our menu, we are not only limited to the to burgers. We have a wide range of burgers and other things as well. We have pizzas, we have waffles and beverages and all lot of other things. So our menu is one of having the most variety out of all the burger chains in India right now. Yes. Good afternoon.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know the journey from a single store to the franchise. I mean, I have a store. My father running that shop. I want to convert it to a franchise. So what is the journey from a shop to a franchise?
Okay. So when we started franchising, we developed that model after pandemic, and it was very important. So how we did it? First of all, if you're talking about your store, then you should be sure that all your back-end operations and supply chain, logistic, vendors, and everything are quite sorted. Because until and unless you have a strong backbone, you can, won't be able to walk further. So it is very important if you want to expand, then you need to have a very strong backbone of all the operational things that goes into your business, and you need to make SOPs, processes that are easily replicable, because as standard operating procedures. So it's a list where you have to lay down your guidelines and everything, right? So you have to create all that and make sure that it is not डिपेंडेंट ऑन वन पर्सन. अगर आप अपने दूसरे स्टोर में नहीं होंगे तो आपका स्टोर ना चले, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. योर प्रोसेसेस शुड बी स्ट्रॉन्ग इनफ that you put any random person, and he should be able to perform that responsibilities and duties. So yeah.
Just to add up here, so when McDonald's came into the Indian origin, they came up with a very strong package. We all know that in India, the major crisis come when the person handling the store is not there.
Yes.
So manpower becomes a problem. So how could an Indian brand, standardize things so concretely that it did not become a weakness, but rather the standardization that every store is functioning the same way? I think that became a lead of getting into franchising. So how was the journey there?
So we actually operated our store for 1.5 years before we jumped into the franchising model. So in that duration, whatever knowledge we had gathered during our post graduation years, we applied each and every one of it, and we did many hidden trials, and we made sure that we are running smoothly, because before taking money from other investors, we need to make sure that we are honest enough, and we are strong enough in our operations. So we made sure that we run the show for entire time. Yeah, pilot was run, and that's how once we were sure, then only we entered into the franchising model.
Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, myself Aman Singh, and I'm from Varanasi.
अच्छा,
I-
हमारा स्टोर आ रहा है वाराणसी में
Ma'am,
बहुत
you
जल्दी.
you just opened one franchisee in Laura Vir on in 2018 November. Your store is there in November, but after pandemic it is closed. But
No,
right,
no, it is not closed.
yes, ma'am, it is closed. Right now it shows that there is a any franchisee.
Our first store was in Palam Vihar, Gurgaon.
No, ma'am, I said that in 2000, you have started your franchise in 2016. You
No,
registered.
you got your facts wrong. We
Ma'am,
started franchising after the pandemic.
ma'am, there is one franchisee. I have show you after this. There is one franchisee, and the owner of that person, the name is I think Neelam Singh. She is also a lady. Yes, ma'am. I
Are
will
you
tell you
sure?
that.
Are you sure
Yes,
that
ma'am, I am sure.
There
Yes,
are,
ma'am.
I
She
think,
is
you are not living any parallel
no, ma'am.
universe?
No, ma'am. She is living in Sigra while in Varanasi as well.
Okay, so I think
I have a proof about that, ma'am. So that's
Please show it to me. I'll be.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm very amused to hear this
investigate
thing.
into it after the session, okay?
Okay,
We'll
ma'am.
jointly investigate.
Okay, ma'am.
So, talking of this, I think there are a lot of companies with a similar names that have also come up. The Burger Club being one, the Burger Singh being one. So, how do we differentiate from these brands, Parallel?
So we so see, the reason why we kept this name was we wanted to make it very clear to my customer that what you should expect when you enter into my outlet. So the name itself suggests that our heroes are burgers. Obviously, we sell other things, but our heroes are going to be burgers. So we need to make it clear, because we didn't want anybody entering into our outlet and asking for chola bhatura. So that was one reason we kept this name. And when other people are copying us, like the gentleman said, we take it as a compliment, because you can see these small carts also who may name it Burger King. So they're actually aspiring to be one. So we take it as a compliment actually, that people are aspiring to be one of us.
So, any one or two lessons in terms of challenges that you face? We've spoken a lot about the stepping up of the ladder, right? Any one or two challenges that made you learn a lot as an entrepreneur in this short journey?
So there were many. I mean, it's hard to list down a few. But I just want to point out one thing, that whatever the challenge may be, because see, every other person is different and their lives are different, and challenges that they're going to face is going to be different. My challenge could be very much different to maybe what you would face and what these people would face. But the idea is to overcome those by being confident and by believing in yourself, because there are many people who would try to pull you down, right? They would make fun of you and they would try to challenge your confidence. But it is very important to believe in yourself, and you can overcome any kind of challenges that are there in your life.
Uh, the burger club also is into the burger company is also into dining setup, right? The casual dining setup. Post pandemic, do we see any change in the trend where the people are coming and dining in, or do we see that the consumer patterns are still the same?
No, actually, like I mentioned, we grew from 1 to 100 after the pandemic. So there were a few reasons. I'd like to disclose it here. There were a few factors that actually helped us grow after pandemic. From the investor's point of view, uh, everybody understood that it is very much important to have a second source of income because many people lost their jobs and they had nothing to do in their hands. So when people realized it, they started looking for opportunities. So that was one thing that worked really in our favor, that people were looking for something to invest in and to have a second source of income. Second, from the investor's point of view, is that rentals were very low in pandemic. So because people were very uncertain how it would go, then that is something that really worked in our favor. That people were ready to take their chance because rentals got lower and they were like, "अभी invest कर लेते हैं, बाद में I'm sure it is going to be a profitable thing for them." And from the customer's point of view, uh, I mean, we also go out these days, and I think we are pretty much immune to COVID now. And the customer, so it is very important. Initially, during that pandemic, it was important to make our customers understand that we are following proper hygiene protocols, and the food that they are going to eat is quite safe. So we incorporated that into our marketing communication as well. So everything has to be integrated. You have to communicate to your customer. So we communicated with them, and they had put their trust in us, and they, thankfully, by God's grace, our stores are doing phenomenal.
So this is from the perspective of the students who would like to do a job or students who would like to start something of their own. Customer orientation and building a strong connect with your consumer as well as the customer is one of the key things in organizations that we see. How did the company, focus on the customer orientation? How did you fetch the attraction initially, attention of the customers? And then what does the company do to retain them?
Okay. So, so we stick to a very popular FM for this. Can anybody guess? No, sorry. Anyone else? Which is the most popular and most sought after FM? Huh? Okay. Sorry. No. Okay. So it is WIIFM. And the full form is What's in it for me? Right? So that's the most popular FM. आप किसी को भी बताइए इसमें आपका क्या फायदा है, and that person will be very much ready to listen to you and actually work for you. Right? So that's what we did. We told customer what's in it in our brand for them. We communicated, okay, you'll get blah blah blah, so many good things to offer, amazing ambience, and all the USPs that our brands have, like amazing food at reasonable prices, ambience. You get to play PlayStation and have a quick match of foosball in in our outlet, and lots of things that we offer to our customers as a brand. So we make sure that we tell them the WIIFM, and I think that's worked for us.
Is there any team who's constantly working on dealing with the clients? As in, apart from the front sales executive, if in case there are any problems or there are any issues that crop up, do we have one specific team who's catering to this?
So at store level, yes, the store manager is the one who is the person interacting with the guests, and they are supposed to solve any query or any issues that are there. If not, then at every store we have our Insta handle mentioned and our support email ID mentioned. And if you have any query, they can write back to us, and we will be more than happy to give them a solution ASAP.
bootstrapping or attracting investors, what according to you is the viable and convenient as well as, I would say, a sustainable option for an entrepreneur?
See, that totally again depends on what kind of idea you're working on and what are your vision and plans for future. So, if I talk about the burger company, we are completely bootstrapped. Right now, we are not looking for any kind of angel investors or VCs. But then again, I would not like to restrict anybody's mindset of going for a round of investment, and because it totally depends on what your vision is. Our vision is to provide an opportunity for people in tier 2 and tier 3 cities to be their own bosses, open their own burger company outlet, and run the show. So for that, right now, I don't think so that works for us. But maybe in future, when we would like to expand in international cities, maybe then we might need some investment.
Any other questions that you have? Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, all of you. My name is Gaurav. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that you had an idea, right? And you're a foodie. You said you're a foodie, and from childhood you wanted to do this business.
Yes.
But when you're stuck in a business or a job, you become rigid. You forgot that idea that I have to come back to that idea and do a business, right?
Yes.
What was that point that you thought I have to start that business again and I have to work upon that idea and do your own business? First
You
question.
mean when she started with the corporate journey? What her
No,
back?
no, no, no. She was in the job, right? Then she thought again to come back to the business. What was that point of thinking? What was the thing that stuck in your mind? I should go back to that childhood idea and do my business. That was my first question. The second question is I reside in Greater Noida. So when is the store coming to Greater Noida? Greater Noida where to best to be
Very
exact.
soon, very soon. We're there in sector 41
Okay.
and 135.
Okay, okay.
And we're opening 2 more stores in Noida by in 30 days.
To be exact, ma'am, Greater Noida West, like in God City and in that area.
I'll let you know. I
Okay.
will get back.
Probably you can take a franchise if you're very eager. Is it?
Maybe in the future. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so coming back to your first question, uh, I was going through the same thing that I guess many people go through these days. आप किसी से भी आप अभी तो आप पढ़ रहे हैं but when you grow up, when you speak to your friends who are working in corporates, everybody wants to start their own business, and most of it is in food because I think on a larger scale many people relate to food, and it's one thing that unites us. So I was also not pretty much happy in my corporate job, and then I realized that it's high time I need to take a stand and make my dream come true. So, yeah.
How you overcome the challenges? Like there are a lot of challenges, like you said, you had a child and your husband and husband was there, so family was not supportive. What is the other challenge?
See, there were many challenges. We did not have that kind of money to invest in and open a lavish outlet, so we opened a smaller one. So we started very small with whatever resources we had. See, it doesn't take much to make your dream come true if you're very much determined. I could have gave an excuse that I don't have so much money, I don't have family support, I should delay it further, or I'll do it in next 5 years. But you need to take a stand at some point of time in your life, and I took one, and I was sure that whatever resources I have to put them to good use, and make sure that I accomplish what I dreamt of.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. I wanted to ask, like, you have a very diverse menu compared to other brands.
Yes.
So, what was the process while deriving that menu, and did you have to change it according to the local taste palette while introducing the franchise model?
Yes, that's a very good question actually. We had to make some amendments in our menu when we went hyper local in various states and cities of India, because we Indians, we really want customization. That we understood when we opened our first outlet, because every other customer used to come and used to ask, आप मेरे burger में ये मत डालना, वो डालना, ये करना, वो करना. So we understood that we Indians, we need customization. So although since it is a model where everything has to be standardized, we could not change the whole menu. But yes, we introduced one or two items in the menu so that people can relate to, and they feel that this brand is theirs. So for one of that example is we have Bombay Burger in our menu, which is a burger version of a vada pav. Then we have Punjabi Gabru in our menu, which is a very Punjabi, full of spices, a chole bhature kind of a burger. So we have these kind of items in our menu so that we can speak to the Indian customers.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
I
afternoon.
hope you are doing absolutely
Yeah,
fine.
very
My
much.
question is this, when I was a student, I am a student, but in my secondary education, I never went to Burger King because that was they offer a very expensive burger for a student. Spending 80 or 90 rupees for one burger is very expensive for a student who is
Very
getting
true.
100 rupees
Very true.
in a day. So I preferred going to McDonald's and eating a McD.
Mekalu.
Mekalu tikki. So what is the USP and what is the kind of attraction, how you will be able to attract me if I am a student and I'm getting 100 rupees at my pocket money, so that I have to eat this and drink something also. So what is the kind of meal you are offering or USP what you have?
So every menu, I would like to answer this question in a much little different way actually. So whenever you're designing a menu, there have to be one item that speak to the masses. And for us, that item is Bombay Burger, which we are selling at rupees 39. So you have to have one thing in your menu, be it food menu or any other business that you're carrying out. There have to be one thing that speak to the masses, and then you have maybe other things that are could be a luxury for a student, but a normal thing for a corporate employee. So you need to have a mix in your offering, whatever you're going to offer to your customers.
Important to have a wider audience to cater to.
Exactly.
That also becomes a point, right? Any other questions? Do we have? Okay, great. Just one or two points which we can cover for the students. So
Sure.
we spoke about the finances, which you said depends a lot on the nature of the business that you're starting with and the resources available to you. What are some of the branding strategies which can attract the customers with regard to the current Indian market? Indian market to be specific.
Branding strategy.
Right.
Uh,
Marketing, but
uh-huh.
majorly how to brand of it.
See, whenever you're creating any kind of brand, branding also involves a lot of things, designing your logo, a whole set of guidelines are there, what kind of fonts are you going to use, what kind of colors you're going to choose, and lot many other things. So whenever you're branding your particular idea, you need to make sure that it is very clean. It should not be confusing, right? Because when we see a particular sector, when we talk about medical sector, the color that pops up in your mind is maybe green and blue, right? We see hospitals and we imagine green and blue color. And when we talk about food, there are few colors that are very prominent in the industry, that is yellow color and red color. And orange is also coming in nowadays. So it is important that you choose your elements right, and they should resonate with your industry, the kind of business that you're in. So it should be very clean. The selection of colors specifically, because visually it should be appealing to your set of customers, and you should be strict with your branding. And suppose आपका menu का color कुछ है and आपके pamphlets में उसका कुछ और color, it should not be like that. Everything has to be integrated in a way that every communication that you have, every collateral that you have, should speak one language to your customer.
One last question. So, let's say students like to do a little pilot with an idea that they have in mind, right? And that can be maybe carried out within these 2 years of them doing a postgrad, or probably just after they do start with their corporate career. They want to start something side by side and see whether it is working out or not. What are some 2 or 3 concrete steps that they can take up to test their idea out?
See, it's a very nice thing to test your ideas in your early years, because later on, when you get married or when you grow old, it becomes difficult to risk your comfort. And in student life, we are very much of a risk takers, anyways. So it's a very good idea to test your particular business idea, and the steps that you can take around it is, first, again, like I said earlier, research about it. Research. This is a very important thing, to begin any pilot. Research about it, and then have your friends and known ones and family members come and experience it. सपोज अगर आप फॉर एग्जाम्पल फूड स्टॉल लगा रहे हो, तो इनवाइट योर फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली एंड मेक देम टेस्ट, गेट फीडबैक, take feedback before going overboard with investment and actually targeting your customers, because that would actually help you redesign your offerings if required. And apart from that, you need to forecast also. You need to forecast, if you are going to put in rupee one, what you can earn back from that penny. So it is very important to forecast, and also to understand that will you be able to take that, are you ready for the risk, and will you be able to afford if everything goes south. So it is very important to project as well.
I think thank you so much. With this, we had a lot of inputs from your side with regard to the journey that you have witnessed, and probably a lot of learnings for the students, for them to be able to start something of, not as a competitor to the brand, but probably something of their own. So thank you so much for lending your time and energy to Asian Business School. I would request Ravi sir to come and speak a few words for the vote of thanks.
Thank you. You've been a great audience. Thank you.
So my heartfelt thanks to Ms. Neelam Singh for being here. And when I say that, it is difficult to get a corporate person, but not an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur doesn't have even a holiday, right? So that is why I'm very thankful to all the entrepreneurs who are taking their time, and especially once so much is going on around. The world has just come out of pandemic, and then everybody is in the mode of re-establishing and recreating and leaping up the new heights. Lead session is very close to my heart personally. We started it 8 years back. Can please have a seat? I'll take 1 minute more. I am fond of talking. So the whole purpose of inviting such eminent people under this talk series is to give your thought process, right? Like I said yesterday, aligning is important. So whatever you want to do in your life, you cannot just decide it next day. And it's like today you decide, tomorrow you're gonna start. So you have to plan it. So you have to get your facts clear. You have to get yourself very much thorough, as Neelam ma'am says, research is really important. Right. So this is what I think is my takeaway, which I take from every session, and I'm very happy to see everybody participating, and this positive attitude should not go down. And I request all of you to kindly give a round of applause to my esteemed guests today. And on behalf of each of my students, let me tell you, they were so much waiting for you to come. I announced this session yesterday in one of my departments, and they were all, I could see their shiny eyes, like, oh wow, one more person is coming. So that's just the beginning for your batch. You'll have lot many promising entrepreneurs like her, but not definitely the Neelam Singh. The Neelam Singh is the one, right? So thank you so much once again. Thank you so much, Ganema ma'am, for coordinating this so well. To my fellow colleagues, we have Ms. Abhilasha as well from the team, who has been very troubled by me in terms of all the follow-ups and other things. But a wonderful colleague, I must say. Thank you so much, Shweta ma'am, and the entire IT team as well. And of course, Pawan, my fellow colleague. So enjoy the day, have your classes.